Welcome back, listeners. We're excited to have you here today with an amazing guest, Sheva Pinkus. And she is a perfumist, just an overall expert in aromatherapy, and creates these really unique aroma reading profiles specific for her clients based on their needs. Now, tell us a little bit about how you got started on this journey, because it's very unique and very specific, which is awesome. So, yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
So, my background is I'm an educator and I come from the art education world. And I did that for about 20 years. But then, while I did that for about 3 decades, I studied herbs and herbalism and any holistic healing modality that ever been invented. Because when I was 12, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And so it has always been something that I'm always pushing up against and trying to overcome in order just to live life. And then I had moved out to Phoenix as an adult, and that's where I learned about everything under the sun for healing and was exposed to so many ways that a person can heal. And then I also had this natural propensity towards spirituality. And then at one point, I was leading services and was a spiritual leader for a fellowship in Phoenix for
Oh,
several
wow.
years. So I took, and then that turned into officiating weddings and just being able to be a ceremonial artist. So I took that love of ceremony, which started like pouring into the tea world, creating tea ceremonies for people.
Oh, okay.
And then my collection of like hundreds and hundreds of herbs would inspire me that when people would come into my space, I would design a specific tea to meet them where they're at, what are their needs, what color are they attracted to, and then that really was the beginning of that olfactory clairvoyance in a way, like being able to be clairolfactant, where I could sense what someone's needing, where they're at, what's important about the story that they might need to know. But then my own healing led me to really want a complete set of chakra essential oil blends. And I made them and took about 4 years to really get this story because they're based on the story of the chakra gemstones. And so within that, they're just so powerfully sensitive. And I noticed that as I started lining them up, as I presented like, "Oh, here's my series. Isn't this exciting?" Friends would just naturally like rank them in order of preference, like, "Oh, this is my number 1, this is my number 2." People are pattern believers. So when I saw the lineup, I was shocked to find that it was telling the story of what's going on in their life.
Mhm.
And it lined up exactly with the goals that they were currently setting. And it also was revealing their most recent life lesson. And I was like, okay, this was a fluke. Maybe I'm making it up because I know them and I know their story. But then I started sharing them with strangers. And then that too had this really profound narrative attached to it.
Wow.
And so that became the entry point to which I then would say, okay, tell me your vision. What do you want to create in your life? And then began using Aroma as a vision board and creating a signature scent that can anchor and lock in their vision for their goals and what they're wanting to manifest. I know that now that's the kind of language for my wellness and metaphysical client avatar, but I also serve a different audience, and that's business owners who are looking to create their brand story in scent. And so I might tell a little bit of a different intro for that one.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so tell, like, for those that do not know how the limbic brain is very specific on scent and how that actually triggers a memory. Can you explain that a little bit
Oh,
for our listeners? Because I feel like that is really key to understanding the power of essential oils and botanicals and nature in general. Mhm.
so right. And so like, I just want to backtrack, like, as my company is called Perfuming Intentions. I love Aroma because it's like this full, rich bouquet that tells a story like a painting or a song. Because as you spray it in an atomizer way,
Yeah.
it has these top notes that are released first, and then it slowly releases the middle notes and then the base notes. So it can be this really long experience, and that can tell us so much. And for me, it's much more than just as a fashion statement or something to attract your, special partner or something to wear with your cocktail dress. But it is something that can be a powerful emotional shift. It can
Mhm.
be an anchor to an emotion you want to hold on to. It can be your reminder of a goal that you're setting. And the reason why I believe scent is the most important perception we can tap into when we want to change our brain,
Yeah.
when we want to create a new habit, when we're trying to get other people to understand a narrative or a story that we're trying to tell,
Mhm.
one whiff can do that.
Yeah.
Because any aroma, whether we want it to or not, is always attached to a scent memory. Even if it's an aroma we've never smelled before, our Rolodex of familiar ideas are going to start popping up. Like, oh, that reminds me of something. Oh, well, it's not like it, but it reminds me of the time when I was in my grandma's basement and there was this musty smell, but then it's next to old paint. And yeah, so there's the human brain starts to create the story. Now, the limbic brain is where we hold our automated thoughts. The oldest thoughts lie there. That's where our fear resides. And the fear part of our brain is the one that tells us to be safe. And unfortunately, for us who are trying to create new experiences in our lives that are different from childhood, we end up being sabotaged by the 90% plus part of the brain that has a negative bias.
Mhm.
So that part of the brain wants us to stay in our familiar place. It wants us to stay safe. It wants us to avoid discomfort. Well, that is almost like completely contraindicated for anyone who's a business owner or entrepreneur because we're always
Right.
being asked to do something that takes us out of our comfort zone, that we're being asked to take a risk and or create a new habit or develop a new skill or create new ability of and skill set and confidence in something that is completely foreign to us. So as much as we try and to hold on to this new thought, this new idea, this new goal, this new belief system, we're using two different parts of the brain as and believing that they are equally paired. But that's not true. We have to use things that are already in the limbic system if we want it to have as much power as that negative bias. And that's where scent memory is so powerful. It's able to take us to that goal, to that belief system that we're wanting to create. And it works because anything so essentially it's scent memory. It's scent
Mhm.
memory that lives in that same location of the brain as fear. And that's the house of emotions. And fear is essentially a collection of emotions, specifically the one, stay safe, be comfortable. So
Yeah.
this part of the brain with scent memory wants us to be able to tell the story of like emotions and feelings, and it has so much power. Like so when you have this experience of a scent memory, you're immediately taken back to childhood or like and sometimes in a more profound way, like it can tell so much about a whole chapter in your life that even a song on the radio can't do. Like, it's just powerful, and it's so visceral and evocative. And so what I like to do is the thing I know about scent memory is that you can create new ones, and that's
Mhm.
really good because if I'm working with people to create the smell of their future, how do I do that if they don't have the smell of what their goal is or how do I have in my scent memory the smell of my business mission or my brand? By smelling something over and over again with a powerful intention, that's how we can build a scent memory. And so now we have something locked in and anchored, and it is as weighty and powerful as a fear response.
Yeah. When you are talking about that, I think of like a filing cabinet of like all the memories that we have, like tucked away that associate with some sort of smell that, like for me, the smell of vetiver is smells like a campfire. And our my whole life we always camped at the beach. Every year, that was our family vacation. We always had campfires, and so that scent just takes me back to the beach and wonderful memories of, sitting around the campfire, roasting marshmallows with the family, and it is so visceral. I mean, in a split second, just the scent of it can take you to that memory. Opening that filing cabinet, getting that, wonderful memory out, experiencing it all over again. And so what you're talking about is so very, very, very powerful. And the nice thing, it's fast. It's so quick.
Ooh, so freaking fast, seconds. And the reason why it is faster than all of our other scents combined. And the
Yes.
reason is because it does not go through as many neural networks as Aroma does. And so if you want a super fast mind-body connection, use Aroma. If you want to change your mood, use Aroma. If you want to shift a feeling, use Aroma. If you want to redefine an experience, link it with Aroma.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
is super
yeah,
powerful.
it is so wonderful. I also think about, like, just as you're talking, in the Bible, there's so many references to frankincense and the sweet smell. God calls frankincense a sweet smell, and it's good, and it's, something that he enjoys. And so it's very interesting, that we enjoy them so much as well. So, when tell me a little bit more about how you create these wonderful, unique profiles for people that are in business that want to create something that's very visionary for them, very unique and specific. Like, I find that
Oh,
so interesting.
yeah. Well, it is so out of the box because everybody has heard. I mean, I think by now we've seen commercials about like, oh, my home smells so gorgeous. It's through this big special $3,000 air ventilation experience that's just like the Ritz-Carlton. So
Yeah.
people know about hotel aromas and that
Mhm.
they're pumped through the ventilation system and that aroma can disperse itself. And that is that power and that story of what perfume means. Like parfumier means like it is for being vaporized. And that aroma can, be dispersed and amplified. And that is the same thing I think about when I think of someone's brand. When someone wants to explain who they are and what they're about, they want to amplify that. They want to
Yeah.
amplify the power that they have in the marketplace. They want to amplify being top of mind with their potential clients and current clientele. They want to amplify their bottom line, their productivity, their financial power. And I think because it's already built into the word of perfume, it can amplify it. And so when I work with a client, I work in the same way somebody in marketing or branding would. Like, talk to me about your vision. And what does it feel like? How would you know if you're there? What do you want your avatar client to feel, know, experience, believe? And then this is the part that sets me apart is that when was the first inclination in your whole life that you ever believed this was possible? Tell me about that story. Do you see it somewhere? Like, how do you know that this can be a reality? When was the first time you had the notion of it? And oftentimes that's where people start talking about their mentors or people that have inspired them in their past. And so I try to do is see if I can extract of the earliest positive scent memory possible. I mean, 50% of the time, it's like I had a dream. That's it. I woke up one day and this is it. I've never seen it before. I just believe it. And in those situations, then it's like, so let's create this aroma and give it a title and say that short three-word phrase again and again and again until
Mhm.
every day it becomes that scent memory because now we have this well-worn path of knowing what getting there feels like. So what I'll do is then start asking questions like if this vision or mission statement or objective of your business goals had a season, what would it be? If it had
Yes.
a musical instrument, what would it be? If it had a sound, what would it be? So what I'm doing is linking colors, textures, sounds, seasons, lighting. All of that can be found in aroma. Yeah, so we can easily link these adjectives to an aromatic constituent. So like vetiver has got this smoky, grassy, earthy, woody note, depending on where it's from. Like the
Mhm.
vetiver you were talking about has
Mhm.
has these tiny little back notes in molecule terpenes that can be found in things like cypress or in the coastal pines that are around the beach areas. And it is found in campfires and smokes.
Mhm.
So that's Java vetiver, but then there's Haitian vetiver. There's
And
there's
mine's Haitian.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
There are so many kinds, and then the textures vary slightly. To me, music aroma has sound, it has color, it has a whole story and experience. And then if I can blend that and also add in the things that may not have an aromatic element to add, but it has an energetic element to add. And that's where my wisdom of the herbs and plants comes into play of knowing like, okay, frankincense is not really an aroma that is going to add anything to the blend on a pleasing aesthetic level, but it is going to add this calm, collected, introspective, inspired, connected space,
Mhm.
grounded. And that's what we want in our brand. So I'll use a combination of those things to pull it together. And once we get that story solid and we start formulating it into this unique one of a kind aroma, which is different. Like, yes, people can go online, like, oh, hey, I want my boutique to smell like Christmas. So when people come in, they think of shopping and holidays, but it could be so much more than that. What if your scent could tell the story about, sure, the season, but also about what you provide? What kind of feeling and sensation do we as a company stand for? What are the values that we want to be remembered? And that is just as important as your business card, as your rap card, as your Instagram account, because you are communicating who you are as a brand.
Mhm.
And every story is so different. And not only that, as entrepreneurs and business owners, each moment, each like every 3 or 4 years, our business story is going to change. Our mission and objectives can change. So does our scent. And so the thing is that each business has a different way to use the scent once it's completed. Some people use it as a way to get all their employees on board and communicate this ethereal, abstract concept about who we are, what's our mission, into this something tangible that they can hold in their hand, that they can smell, that can become embodied. And sometimes it's a gift, for our big holiday thank you gala for our key stakeholders. Or maybe it's a swag that we're going to add to our conference bags when we go to the annual convention. Or maybe it's gonna be, what people instantly go to, "Oh, we're gonna pump it through the air and everyone's gonna have to smell it." That couldn't be further from the truth. We can have that, or in small bottles or whiff sticks or something that can just be put on a piece of jewelry. So it doesn't have to, like, be an assault to the senses. It can just be a
Yeah.
story when you wanna smell the story.
Yeah, that's amazing. Speaking of the energetic component, yeah, I would love for you to elaborate more on that because, I feel like there's so many things that are energy, or, we often hear people say everything's energy. Everything has an energy behind it with the intent or, the
Mhm.
goal. And so, talk about that just a little more for those that maybe aren't quite sure what that means. Mhm.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oof. I'm gonna need your help, Zena, because I can go really esoteric and really deep too quickly. And I'm at risk here for doing the glaze over effect. So I'm gonna try really hard. Okay. So I just gave a talk about the energy of aroma at a Clean Beauty, Amplified Clean Beauty Summit last week. And what I loved about doing that talk was, well, as I prepared for it, I really thought, what does it say in the dictionary, the definition of energy? And how do people even define energy? What is energy? And I was thinking, even specifically in plants, like how do we know a plant has energy? Oftentimes, that energy, I think, is potential. And I think as that potential can be in momentum or it can be not yet in momentum. And so like medicinal plants, they can be amplified to their highest purpose, or they can just be an object of beauty that is planted in your front gate, so when people come in, they see this beautiful plant. And it doesn't have to be used in its highest potential. But I think when we are being wanting to step into potent momentum and move from potential into potent, why not use the essence of the plant, which is also so potent, and combine it with that momentum so that we're in momentum to our goals and our longings and our desires. And we use botanicals and plant and nature to help us get there. And I think that is, to me, that is like the highest use of energy. When we are all molecules. I'm molecules, plants are molecules, the desk, my cell phone are molecules, and each molecule, this is what I love about perfumery so much, is that a molecule in and of itself is just an element. But then when you add that to a cluster of other molecules that are different terpenes and sesquiterpenes and all different kinds of expressions of what builds an aroma. And there could be hundreds molecular aroma chemicals in a singular plant, like a rose. So oftentimes that's just a myth that we think that, oh, it means it's synthetic if there's all these chemicals, but it's actually found in nature. We are a cluster. Everything that has energy is a cluster of complex molecules. But what makes it thrive, what makes it rise to its purpose is the curated collection of those molecules. And so when those are together and telling the highest potential abilities of that story, I feel like that's amplified energy.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah,
But I get
and
too off track with that. Like, I feel like it might to
no, no, not at all, and honestly, I think about, like, think how simple water is, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen, it's, molecules and atoms, but together that gives us life. Like, food, the food that we eat, plants, are molecules and energy, and they give us energy, and they give us life, very life-giving, and so, all our botanicals do the same, which I am a very natural loving person, like, I haven't had a Tylenol in probably 20 years. Yeah, I love plants, I love nature, it is my go-to to help solve health issues and crisis.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
My
It
background
yeah.
nurse setting, and so, yeah, having, learned how powerful, I mean, so powerful botanicals are and what God gave us is just phenomenal. And having that knowledge and using that knowledge to, further the kingdom and bless other people and, transform lives has been such a gift. And so tell me, like, number one, how are you finding your clients? Where are your clients located? Like, what are you doing networking? Like, are you using referrals? How are you finding them?
Everything that you mentioned, all the above, and then some. I am shifting my strategy a little bit right now because I'm baffled, to be honest. I'm baffled because I feel like some of the things that are ready to go kits, like for example, I have this autumn aroma
Oh, awesome.
perfume making kit where people can get it in the mail, and it's already curated into
Cool.
four accords called Full Moon Campfire, which you're gonna love. It's got that vetiver that you love in there.
Yeah.
Leaf pile, apple picking, and s'mores latte, and it's all autumn amber base. And so I've tested them all different combinations, so I know they're gonna be beautiful. And I have another set like this for team building that really where people can get in touch with their strengths that they bring to the team, so we can have this harmonious, literally harmonious blend. And then I have this aspect of my business that I'm trying to do an e-commerce online presence. And then I also have my in-person events, which I love so much. Like as a teacher, I love being able to be in front of a person doing events, speaking, motivating, inspiring, really getting right in there and sharing with people like what aroma can do, how it's so like here are four different pure notes. You can just smell them and you can see a difference in your body's physical response and know that we can harness that power. And so, yes, so networking, referrals, talks, emails, vendor events, all the above.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
How
if you have any ideas, I'm
Oh,
very
you have lots of ideas. A lot of ideas, yeah. How are you keeping track of the people that you've make contact with?
So right now I have a CRM that I use that I'm really happy to say that I learned all of it myself. So I built my own website. I did all my own logo design work and
Oh,
marketing statements, everything. It's all self-made.
nice.
So
That is awesome.
yeah, it took about a year, huge learning curve, still is. Every day is a learning curve. But I have about 1,000 in my CRM, and I
Wonderful.
stay in
That's
touch
amazing.
with monthly newsletters that are inspirational things about what aroma can do and be. And then I also do my upcoming events, announcements, and then just things that are for specific audiences, like
That's
people in the
amazing.
wedding industry or people in the building industry or people in the I want something fun for holiday gifts,
Yeah.
so you're trying to separate those smart lists out.
Yeah. Yeah. How does it feel to be organized like that? Doesn't it feel so good?
It has taken years to get to this point. So I feel like, okay, I, I feel like I made it, Oh, yeah. I'm just waiting for the finances to catch up. Now but like, I'm ready. I am ready for all these big orders. I've got a staff, I've got a team, I've got my kits ready, I've got, years and years worth of content. And yeah, like I know my stuff and I feel like I've gotten to the point where I trust my skills as a perfumer. Just
Yay, that's
just
amazing.
getting there was hard. Then developing my skill set as a business owner
Yep.
I didn't even know. I think last year, this time was the first time I had heard the term burn rate. Like that was a new concept to me, which is kind of essential for a business owner to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, the whole fluency of relationship building, record keeping, putting onboarding in place, getting your abilities to have systems in place for marketing, for branding, for communication. Like there literally could be a full-time person in each one of these roles. Right? How do we do it?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That is what we do at Uplevel Strategies. We get you acclimated and ready for business and e-commerce, whatever it is that you've got, product, service, amazing. So tell me, if somebody wants to work with you, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach you?
So I have a really robust contact page